Hi, this is part of the course on native application development for Android. And what we're going to do in this video is set up Android Studio and show you some of the configuration options you should do. So this here will get you a preview of the course and what you're going to have to use for tools. So here is our course outline, and what we're doing right now is trying to get set up so that we can get to these things. So in a previous video we asked about what the choices were in the apps, and today we're going to start with Android and then write some code with Kotlin. So right off the bat, here is the application itself. This is Android Studio, and you can see that it is written here in 2022. This is called Flamingo, the most current version at the time of this video. So you can see that I'm running on a Macintosh computer. However, if you use Windows or if you're on some kind of a Linux machine, they seem to all work well. What you get when you install Android Studio is access to write code, compile applications, and a nice emulator over here. So this is a fake phone, and you can actually run the app. So you can see that if I click something, I get interaction. And so you can see that the app that we have on the screen is going to eventually give us the ability to manage a list of jokes. So that helps us with user interface, works with databases, a user view model it's called, and so a whole bunch of features that are going to be behind the scenes here. So when you're writing Android Studio, you're going to have a section here called Project. So if you don't see Project, you can click the little tab there. Also, anytime you want to find something, you go to the View menu, and there's a whole list of things that are viewable. So you're going to notice the project folder all the time, and you can see that our inside of there is all the source code that we're going to write. So extension KT stands for Kotlin. You're going to see lots of Kotlin files, and here is what Kotlin looks like right now, and we'll get to that later. We're also going to have the main editor itself, and you can write code and it'll automatically do a lot of work for you with type assist, which is pretty handy. Over here on the right we have this emulator, and then down here on the bottom is the messages that tell you what errors are going on. So a lot of times you have to switch to this tab called logcat, and it'll tell you warnings and errors as you go along. So that's what Android Studio looks like. First of all, you got to go search for it. So use your favorite search engine, look for Android Studio, and you'll come to this page right here. So Android is android.com, and you're going to look for, I think it's called developer.android.com. You're going to see the download here, and when you click the download, you got to agree to a bunch of stuff, and you can see that since I'm running a Mac operating system, it's suggesting that I should download one of two versions. One is for the Apple Silicon, and then the other is the older version of Apple, which is Intel. So they look the same, but you'll get better performance if you download the tool that fits your operating system the best. So if you have Windows, you'll get a different screen up here. So you download the file, install it, and it'll take a little while. So let's start with a brand new project and see what Hello World looks like. So I'm going to close this off, terminate the little phone, and let's make a new project. So when we're building a project here, we're going to choose a very specific type of project. You can see that we have empty activity here, and that's what we're targeting. So let's go to next. You can see the name, and it gives you a package name. So usually com.example.myapplication is the default. So what you want to do is customize that. So I'm going to do com.shad.sluder. So I'm using my name because I think it's unique, and I'm going to just type in hello as my first app. It's going to pick a location where you can save this. You can put it anywhere you want. And then the next option here is what kind of phone are you targeting? So the older the phone, the better in many cases, because it'll tell you that 90% of phones out there use version 24 or newer. If you were to pick the newest one, which is Android 34, you get only 1% of devices out there that would be able to run this. So the older you get, the more popular. So pick something old. Now, why pick a new one instead of an old one? Well, sometimes there are features that you program that require a new operating system. And you'll know when that occurs. It'll be obvious when you're writing the code. It'll give you messages. So pick the oldest one that you can for the widest audience. Let's click Finish and see what happens. So it's pretty nice. It gives you a Hello World app to start with, and you can start to understand what's already in your packages. So down here at the bottom, you can see a bunch of stuff is happening. This is called the Gradle downloads. So Gradle is a dependency manager. It allows you to install libraries, and a lot of things are pre-built when you built a new project. So in the folder, you can see there's a Java subfolder. And it's kind of odd to call it Java, even though we're working with Kotlin. But Java is the compiled destination. It compiles Java runtime compatible code. And then the file called main activity is where we're at. So you can see that we're going to call something called greeting. And we're going to provide it a string called Android. Greeting down here is a function, requires a couple of things. And you can see that it's going to say hello name. So name is Android. So if you want to change that, you can say hello Shad, and then it'll say hello Shad when it generates it. There's a section down here called preview. So if I go over to the top right corner and choose split, let's see, what's the matter? How come it doesn't show? It's supposed to show the preview of your app over here instantaneously. And it looks like it's taken a bit. There it goes. Hello Android. It still says Android up there. Well, it should say Shad. Anyway, if you want to run this app, you can see that I have a phone installed. It's called the Pixel. You won't have that the first time you set up your phone. So what you can do is click on the phone manager. Where is that? Over here. It's called Device Manager. So you can find the little icon up here, or I think it's under the Tools menu. You can also find Device Manager, and that'll bring up a list of things that you can install. So I have one phone installed. I could remove that. Let's just get rid of it right now. And let's see, it won't let me. It's running. So let's try that again. Stop the phone. And now let's try to delete it. Okay, so it's being stubborn. It won't let me delete it. There it goes. Okay, so what you'll see then likely is this screen here that says, don't see any virtual devices. So let's go ahead and create one. And you can pick any phone you want. So the hardware is emulated. So let's pick a phone, and I'm going to pick a Pixel 6. So you can see that the differences in the phones primarily relate to their size. So it's a good idea to have multiple phones to test your app, but I'm just going to pick Pixel 6 is the first one. The next question is, what operating system do you want your emulator to run? So you could pick 34. You can pick an older one. It's also good to test all your apps on different operating systems. I'm just going to pick the newest one, and I'll leave the name there and check Finish. So you can see that it's already set up. Mine was like almost instantaneous because I had previously installed it. Yours will take quite some time to download. It'll also hog up lots of memory. So on my computer here, I have 32 gigabytes of RAM, which is sufficient. 16 seems to be the minimum amount of RAM you want on your laptop or computer. And the best processor available is, of course, better. So Android Studio is kind of memory hungry. So once I have this set up here, I can launch the phone with a little arrow, and it should show a device. Okay, you can see that the phone is booting up, and hopefully I'll see an Android screen in just a moment. There it is. I have a brand new phone. So I could minimize this up here. Let's see, how do I get that out of there? It's this button. There we go. Now I got the big screen. And over here for this preview, I'm going to just switch to the button called Code. It makes it easier. And then finally, the green arrow. The green triangle says Run App. And so this will compile. You'll see it down here. It says Gradle build is running. I'll have some messages at the bottom. And then over here, it'll automatically install the app. And you'll see it right there. It says, hello, Shad. So the app is my hello world, essentially. Also, you might want to check logcat. Logcat will tell you messages, and we'll be able to see if something crashes. It'll give you the error down here. Then, of course, you can just highlight the error and Google it to find out what went wrong, unless you can figure it out by deciphering the clues yourself. So this is a Hello World tutorial, quickly running through the app. We should probably get to some real coding in the next video. So let's move on to write our first sophisticated version of an application.